going on, Jerome's? So the Minnesota Vikings offensive line has been an issue over the last couple of years, and they have invested heavily along the O-line, numerous first-round picks in Darisaw and Bradbury, and also Ezra Cleveland, Brian O'Neill, and Ed Ingram, all second-round picks. So a lot of capital and firepower put into the O-line. It just hasn't gotten together. Although, respect, Christian Darisaw is quickly becoming one of the best tackles in the game. O'Neill, even though he had sort of a rough day, especially when Chris Jones ran T&E stunts on him against the Chiefs, is still one of the best right tackles in the game. The issue has been the interior. So second-year guard Ed Ingram. Some positives, sure. He is getting better. There's a lot of negatives throughout his first season as well as through parts of this year. Garrett Bradbury, respect, rose like a phoenix in year 4, secured a mini extension, which is good to go. Ezra Cleveland's been a good soldier. He's born to be a left tackle, but playing left guard, playing extremely well so far this year to start off a contract year. And then it comes to come on up for the rise, Durham. So, 4-year starter for the Broncos, a pride of Kansas State, former second-round pick himself. The Vikings signed to a 4-year deal. And ever since the Vikings signed Reisner, it feels like the offensive line has gotten their ish together. And Kirk Cousins was the most hit quarterback last season with 84. He also had a career high in sacks and pressures. And overall, it just was not good last season. But actually, is the Vikings offensive line kind of good right now? Because they were sort of ass, thank you, the first couple weeks of the season when Darisaw missed some time with that sprained ankle, as well as Garrett Bradbury obviously missed time with that back issue, but they're started getting their stuff together, which is weird to say, but Vikes Insider tweeted this out. How the Vikings offensive linemen ranked among their respective positions in Week 5 per PFF. Darisaw first, the best, numero uno left tackle in the game, or tackle in general. Bradbury is second out of 32 qualifying centers. Ezra 6 out of 6 to 7 guards. Ed Ingram 10th, as well as Brian O'Neill 31st, but that's a little bit skewed since half of it is left tackles as well. So O'Neill probably middle of the pack, gave up 3 pressures against Chris Jones. Sort of is what it is. But even though Ezra gave up a sack against Chris Jones, and so did Ed Ingram, overall, the Vikings offensive line did well against the Chiefs outside of the Hail Mary play. We don't need to talk about that. But, again, it's so weird. We live in, backwards, bizarro world because last year, the analytics, PFF, DVOA, etc., they all hated the Vikings, even though the Vikings went 13-4. But now the Vikings are 1-4, and all of a sudden, they're the darling of the analytics eye. All right, so Vikings Nation put this together. If you look at pass blocking, second in the league, run blocking, first in the league, So run blocking doesn't necessarily just mean offensive line. Josh Oliver is a large factor in that. C.J. Ham's a factor in that as well. But what's crazy is that the Vikings are bottom 6th of the league in terms of rushing. But overall, even though tired narratives are tired narratives, and the offensive line has been an issue at times for over the last couple of years, and it was an issue early on in the season. But frankly, this year, they've gotten pretty decent. So Kirk Cousins being pressured on 31% of his dropbacks, which is tied for 24th most in the league. So he's bottom third of the league in terms of number of pressures, which is a great improvement. Sacks 13th, tied for only 11th most. Pocket time 2 seconds per dropback, which is 20th most in the league. Hits. Now this is such a weird thing, and it feels like the offensive line holds up great at times, but when they break down, they really break down. So Kirk Cousins has had 2 fumbles off of free rushers. He's also been hit the most of any quarterback in the league, again at 24. So it's almost like they aren't like just a constant bad. It's like they're good, terrible. Good, terrible at times. And sometimes it pops up in the worst possible spots, man. And also yards per carry, 4.4. That is trending in the right direction. The last 3 games, the run game has been pretty damn decent with Madison running angry and Akers being a nice change of pace. And the Vikings right now, knocking on all the wood, they have their original starting 5, and they are healthy out there with Darisaw and Bradbury back to full fitness. And maybe Dalton Reisner will have to wait, which I would be perfectly fine with. Reisner, I believe, is starter caliber. I think, absolutely he is. He was an above-average starter with Denver. I think $4 million for a backup is kind of excessive, but frankly, if he does the job of motivating Ezra and Ed Ingram, and just knowing that, hey, they got a bad series, they don't step their game up, they could be replaced. There's a viable replacement on the rooster, which is fine. And also, the whole thing about Reisner is, why was he a free agent for so long? Was it medical? Was it locker room stuff? Who knows? He seems like a good dude, seems like a good fit so far, and it could be an extended audition. And maybe the Vikings, re-sign Dalton Reisner this offseason after his one-year deal expires, because Ezra Cleveland is likely going to be leaving in free agency for a left tackle job. So Reisner will be able to slide on into that left guard spot, the spot where he's played his entire NFL 4-year career so far, and just go from there. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues with the Vikings right now, but is offensive line not one of them? It's kind of crazy. It's really kind of crazy to think. And also, with the Vikings potentially without Justin Jefferson for a couple games, the offensive line is going to have to step up even more. Even more, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Actually, the Vikings offensive line is good? Question mark? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But next time, Skol Production Value.